Hi, everybody, and welcome to session 4 of Soul Shift. I couldn't find my grid, so it took me a minute extra to get here, but I've got it. How are you today? So we had a really fun live reading session today and a very exciting, I think, manifestation class yesterday. And both of those are available to you as Soul Shift members. So if you missed the manifestation class yesterday, you're welcome to watch it at any time. I will say I've been teaching since I was 23, and I'm turning 48 in a few weeks. It's one of my favorite classes I've ever taught. I really enjoyed it. So if you missed it for any reason, you can always go back and watch it. You have lifetime access to it as a Soul Shift member, so there's no rush. Literally whenever you feel like it. You know what I mean? We went kind of long. It was 3.5 hours, but it was chock full. And a lot of you were there live, so thank you. And it's always nice to have our Soul Shift community there live. We've had a lot of people join Soul Shift in the last 2 weeks because of the free class, and then, you know, the Perfume Around the World is 25% off for you guys. So is anybody new tonight to Soul Shift? Because we've had quite a few people register over the last 2 weeks. I want to welcome you. If tonight's your first class, it's kind of fun. You're coming in at crafting, which is kind of a great time to join. So welcome to anybody who's new. And yeah, you're welcome to watch it at your leisure, and I hope that it's helpful for you. Now tonight's class, this class, is actually kind of a continuation. Because we're carving candles, I'm going to teach you about sigils. Erica Evans is new. Welcome in. Born again oldie, Annette. Annette is back. I'm so happy you're here. Anitu says she's old. You're seasoned and experienced, darling. Never old, my love. But anyway, welcome if you are new. What a fun time to join, I think. Now, I do want to talk about Perfume Around the World because you guys have a special code for 25% off. So right now there's a code for 20% off at sagegoddess.com, 20 heat. Don't use that code to buy Perfume Around the World. You can do just the class, or you can do the class and the tools. But you guys get 25% off, and your code is SS Perfume. SS like Soul Shift, Perfume, Perfume. Perfume Around the World is a 3-month class. If you do just the class after your 25% off, it's like $105, and it's about 10 hours of live teaching. In July, I'm taking you to one country. In August, I'm taking you to a second country. In September, I'm taking you to a third country. If you want the tools, which is everything that you see here, and the class, it's $189, and then again, you get 25% off of that. I'm going to tell you that the tools, when you buy them, are $60 extra than the class, and you get 25% off of that. So what is that? $45 for the tools. It cost me $45 to put the tools together. We're really not making much money off of the tools for this class because it's very expensive. You get a custom bottle for each one of the countries. You get 3 essential oils and a carrier oil. You get your pipette, and you get cards for every essential oil that we're working with all the information. The reason I want to mention this to you now, the tools are a third sold out now, and I haven't even talked to you about them yet. We won't be able to restock these because of the pandemic. So the box is going to come to you just like this. We even custom designed the box. Isn't it beautiful? And these are all the flowers that I'm teaching you. Lavender and blue lotus and champaka and orris and clove and all of them. Isn't it cool? I'm really proud of it because I don't even know how my team and I did this year. It was really hard to get all of this made for you. It's been the hardest year for me as a shop owner because every country is shut down. China has shut down again because of COVID. They're not talking about it in the news, but all of my suppliers are not communicating because they can't come to work because of COVID. So anyway, there's a lot going on in the world. If you would like your tools, we're doing, so let me show you really quick, just kind of, I'm giving you guys the up close and personal tour of the kit, and then tomorrow I'll be live in our perfumery group because I want to share all of these details with them too. So the first country we're going to is in, actually, I don't know if it's the first. Let me not tell you order, because I think we're still deciding the order. We're going to 3 countries. We're going to Egypt. And in Egypt, I'm teaching you about mastic, which is actually part of the pistachio family. I'm teaching you about myrrh, and I'm teaching you about blue lotus, including burial rituals and traditions and afterlife rituals and traditions. It's going to be so fascinating when we go to Egypt. And then when I take you to France, I'm teaching you the history of French perfume, which takes us back to Josephine and Napoleon Bonaparte. That's really the origin story of French perfume, so I get to teach you the whole story. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The 25% off code is SS Perfume. So Kelly Shellhammer, look right under your comment. In France, I'm taking you, and we're going to study orris root. Did you know orris root is the rarest essential oil on the planet? Because it's the iris root. Have you heard of an iris plant? It is one of the most powerful divine feminine substances. Wait till you smell it and wait till you blend with it. And so in France, we're working with orris, lavender, and neroli, which is orange blossom. And then when I take you to Indonesia, I picked my 3 favorite countries first. So when I take you to Indonesia, I'm going to be teaching you about clove, champaka, which is related to magnolia, and then I'm teaching you about nutmeg, which has crazy healing properties, and it's also hallucinogenic. Did you know? A lot of people don't know. So, like I said, I will not be able to recreate the tools. You'll be able to register for the class anytime you want, but if you want the tools, a third are gone, and so there's not even enough left for everybody in Soul Shift to have a set of tools if you want one. So please make sure you're using your code. Please don't share that code outside of Soul Shift. Everybody else gets 20% off, which is really great. 20% is a great discount, but we did 25 for you guys as a special gift. You guys will always get more than other people because you're Soul Shift and because you guys already spend $90 a month for your classes. So I like to give you a little extra something. So next year, here's where I'm kind of headed with this. Next year, what I'm thinking is that I want to incorporate more of this work on perfuming and connecting perfume and essential oils with crystals and all of that into Soul Shift. But so this is kind of a test. And to see how it goes. And then if it goes well and everybody's excited, I mean, people have been asking me to teach a perfume class forever, and I've never done it. This is my first time teaching just perfume. So you're going to learn about heart notes and base notes and top notes. You're going to learn about the art of blending. You're going to learn the history of perfume. You're going to learn the history of perfume as it evolved in Egypt, which is primarily around ceremonies for priests and priestesses. I'm going to be teaching you how they worked with the oils. And then the pharaohs and the queens and how they worked with the oils because they had their own distilleries. And then I'm going to be teaching you about burial practices and the afterlife because that was the other primary way that oils were worked with in Egypt. So, but I will not, if I do it next year, I'm not repeating any of these countries because a lot of people who would join next year's program would already have been through the world of perfume. So if I do it next year, I'm going to choose different countries to focus on. So this is kind of my test. Isn't that cool? Laura's husband bought her the kit in the class. Isn't that neat? I love that. I don't know that Dave would do that for me. I like to think that he would, but I think you're very lucky to have your partner. Now, if you listen real close, Tracy Breeden, and those of you who may have purchased this with just your 20%, okay? My support team is standing by to refund you 5% back. And for me, 5% is a big deal. You know, I'm sure it probably is for you too. So if you write in, they're literally waiting if this happened to you. Write to support.sagegoddess.com and say, hey, I'm in Soul Shift. Sorry, I used my 20 heat. I didn't use SS perfume, and I would like my additional 5% credited back to me. They're literally waiting to do that for you. And my support team, I'm sure you realize this, a lot of you, but some of you may not. We've expanded our support team. It's not like it used to be. It's not like a 5 or 6 day wait anymore. They're pretty quick. But they literally are like waiting for Soul Shift members because they saw some of you doing this. In some cases, they're doing automatic discounts, but you should write in and just make sure. And I think you can still use Quad Pay if you use the discount. I know, it's pretty cool, right? So anyway, I just want to make sure you know about it, because tomorrow I'm promoting it to our perfumery Facebook group, which has, thousands of people in it. And what I don't want to have happen is that I come back to you guys and you're like, the tools are sold out. And the tools will sell out, so at some point. So I just want to make sure you know this and you know what your code is so you can make a decision. It's an optional class. Some of you are not into aromatherapy and perfuming, and that's okay too. This is optional. This is not required. But I just want to make sure that you know it's happening, because a lot of you don't see my daily lives and a lot of you aren't on Facebook. And so I feel bad when everybody misses stuff. I do my best to keep you posted. No, your discount, Jill, you can use it at any time. But that's why I'm letting you know that a third of the tools are gone, because I don't know how quickly the rest will sell out, and I'm really starting to work to go to the public with it tomorrow and through the weekend. But you can use that discount code on the class and the tools anytime you want. It's a one-time discount code, and it only works on the class and the tools. So whenever you're ready, you can do that. And class starts at the end of July. And I can't wait. I'm into it too. So next year, yes, Maeve, if we incorporate, this is kind of why I want to do it as part of next year's program, because then I can certify you. I'm not going to certify you through a mini class, you know what I mean? Because 3 months for me is like not enough of a deep dive. But if we do it for 12 months as part of Soul Shift, then I can certify you as a master perfumer. And wouldn't that be cool? I mean, a lot of you are aromatherapists, a lot of you are healers who incorporate, you work with doTERRA and other companies, but a lot of you have not received certification as a master perfumer, as an artisan perfumer. I know, right? So that would be kind of a fun thing. Like this year, so tonight's class in Soul Shift, I'm really excited about, because I think you know that next year, at the end of this year, you're getting certified as an elemental healer. You're getting 4 certificates at the end of Soul Shift. Isn't that fun? So this year, you're getting certified as an alchemist by me and by the IPHM. You're getting certified as a graduate of Soul Shift by me and the IPHM. You're getting certified as an elemental healer by me and by the IPHM. And then you're getting your second certification as a crystal master, as a crystal healer by me and the IPHM. So those are the 4 certificates that will be hanging on your wall this year: elemental healer, alchemist, graduate of Soul Shift, crystal healer, if you finish the 12 months of Soul Shift this year. Yeah, and so I had a not good experience with doTERRA, so I'm not a doTERRA person, but that doesn't mean you guys haven't had great experiences. A lot of you love doTERRA, so I support you in that. I had my own not great experience with them. I'm more a fan of Young Living. And so I also like, although they've stopped really carrying essential oils, I really love Floricopia, but God, I can't get anything on floricopia.com anymore. I've really had trouble. I work directly with distilleries in country. So I have a distiller in France, I have a distiller in India, I have a distiller who works with Southeast Asia and imports all of the oils from Southeast Asia. So I have my own distilleries that I work with, but I don't sell essential oils anymore. I don't want to get into what happened with me in my experience with doTERRA, but I do absolutely support you guys in your process with doTERRA. But if you ever wonder why I don't talk about doTERRA, I didn't have a good experience. So I focus on Young Living and Floricopia. Floricopia, mountain herbs is good too if you can get the thing. Do you know what I mean? There are a couple of Etsy shops though that have some interesting oils. And I've been kind of exploring them too, because there's some Etsy shops that have some things that my distilleries don't have. So sometimes on Etsy you can get really lucky too. I mean, I think it's kind of hit and miss with Etsy, but you can really get lucky. One of my favorite distilleries, or companies that work with distilleries, closed because of COVID. And I mean, they shut their doors and were never to be heard from again, and it broke my heart because a lot of my oils came from that company and they're just gone. So anyway, Etsy's kind of interesting, and you know, however you work with your oils, wherever you get your oils from. I'm not going to sell oils because honestly, it's very difficult. The reason I don't sell them, it's difficult for me to get the quantities of oils I need to make my perfumes. I can't, it's very expensive. And so it's very hard for me to order enough to actually get enough to just sell them separately, if that makes sense. So that's why it's like, go and get your oils where you like to shop. And then when I want to teach you perfume, I will offer the oils that we're going to be working with. Now I'm going to tell you something. The Perfume Around the World class, you can just get the class. Some of you have a lot of oils and you're like, I love you, Athena, but I don't need oils. I don't need bottles. You can use your 25% off and just take the class for $100. It's like $105 for the class after your 25% off for 10 hours of perfuming instruction. So what I would say is if you have your own oils or you don't want to buy oils or whatever it is you just want to learn, just take the class. Maybe you've got what you need. You know, Kaz, I called them. When that company closed, I literally cried. And I called them and they said, we already sold off everything we had. They knew they were going to close. And they sold everything they had before they closed their doors. And I was just like, I mean, it would be like Sage Goddess closing one day, like you just go to the website and we're gone, and then you reach out to us to get some more stones and we're like, nope, we already sold everything. I literally was just like, it was one of the, do you ever have the moments like that where you're just like, what just happened? So anyway, if you have if you have your source that you like, I would say give them your business, because what I fear is that these companies are closing because they don't have enough business to support themselves. I just think maybe they don't. So I think it's good. I mean, I always tell you that. If you have a shop you love, you should shop there. Even if it means you don't shop with me. Because at the end of the day, you know, we need all these shops to stay in business. We really do. So it's like I shop with other people. I buy oils from Floricopia. I buy oils from Young Living. I sometimes buy oils on Etsy. I buy crystals on Etsy. I mean, I buy clothing on Etsy. I'm constantly trying to give a little bit of my business or my money to these smaller shops because I'm worried about everybody, right? Okay, good. So yeah, so if you want the class, it's there, enjoy. If you don't want the class, don't worry about it, leave it. But I wanted to make sure you knew it was happening because a lot of you are not on Facebook. Okay, let's talk about today. Oh shit, hold on. Hold on, sorry. It's a camera issue. Stay with me. Well, that looks terrible. That looks a little bit better. What the heck just happened there, everybody? Nope. Well, that's how it's going to be for today. That's a little bit better. So today, welp. All right, so now I'm going to tell you right now, Team SG made this, and I will forever say to you that Team SG is so good at taking this and making this. I'm telling you Team SG made it because I don't want you to think that I made it. I did not make this. They're better at these things than I am. I'm an artistic person, but I swear to you, I would never have taken this and ended up with that. Is Saya here? This reminds me of, like, Saya could do this. Saya makes these candles. I don't know if Saya's here today. If you're friends with Saya, you've seen. She makes these candles. They're like Magic Town. You know what I mean? It kind of reminds me of what Saya does. I'm not that good at that. But you could be good at it. Yeah, they got super extra. Is Saya here? She's going to get a kick out of that. Doesn't it look like Saya's candles? How she puts all her little Funky Town stuff on the top? I can't do all that stuff. Anyway, we're doing two things today. If we have time, I'll burn some stuff. But we're doing two things today. So we're going to be crafting. We're going to be carving our candles. I know, doesn't it? And then we're going to be gridding today. So if you got your tools for this month, you got this beautiful piece of art. And you got a set of crystals. Wheels out of here. It's so much things. You got your mat and you got your set of crystals. And your crystals look like this. I just put it in a little cup, a little sherbet cup. Saya's here! Yay! Doesn't it look like you, Saya? I swear to God, I was saying, you know what? I couldn't make this, but Saya could. Saya could zhuzh the shit out of that. So now I'm putting pressure on you, Saya. I want to see what you will do with a carved candle. She's in a different realm. Hats off. Yeah, I know you've got thunderstorms, right? What the heck is happening with you guys on the East Coast? What is even happening today? And then the PNW's like frying up there. Holding space for you guys. This is the set of tools, set of crystals that I put with your grid. So if we have a chance to do that today, we will do that as well. I agree. Her candles are beautiful. I think they're super, super beautiful. The amount of detail and intention and stuff that goes into them is just beyond. I'm always admiring them. Yeah. So anyway, don't compare mine to Saya's. I'm not gonna be able to do it. That's okay. I have other gifts. You love Against Thunderstorm? I do too, actually. It's kind of sexy. But then when you're in the middle of it, you're like, I don't love a thunderstorm. I want this to be over, right? Yeah, it's a wet fry. Okay, and Nitu's in Cali with me. So today, we're going to talk about the elements. And I'm going to lead you through a brief guided journey today with my chimes. Yeah. So we'll go through and we're going to summon the elements today. We are. And if you took the manifestation class last night, if you didn't, no rush, no worry. It's part of your membership this month. So you are in no hurry to go and watch it. But tonight's kind of a part 2 because that class was last night. And I was really thinking about today how to take last night's information and kind of work with what we're doing here in Soul Shift to connect it. And because we're working with the elements today, we're working with the elemental symbols today, I'm going to talk to you about and take you through a journey about how we actually manifest through the elements. It was interesting when I was live earlier today, I got a great question from somebody in our community about like, hey, isn't solar plexus the chakra of manifestation? And I said, well, it is, but then when you layer in human design like we did yesterday, the sacral chakra is so much a part of that equation, right? Because the sacral chakra is where desire is born, and desire is the frequency. It's the energy that really accelerates manifestation. It brings your visions into the physical realm, and it's so important. Like without desire, there is no manifestation. Whether you realize it or not, when you declare a desire for something or someone, you bring it closer to you. You literally start to magnetize it into your field. And so the sacral chakra and the fire element are super important, but then every element's important. So we're going to work with earth, air, fire, water, and spirit today, and acknowledge and understand how each one of those elements is important to your work. And the reason why I wanted to do this is part of your certification as an elemental healer. You know, I'm going to send you out in the world, right, with a certificate on the wall. Yeah, actually, Miss Jade's asking, hey, Alexis, do you remember that meme we made where we gave the frequency for each chakra? Alexis will find it. Miss Jade, we have that. We didn't share it recently, but in the past we did, where we listed the chakras and then all of the frequencies that align to the chakras. That information might be in my Ultimate Guide to Chakras book too. But we have a meme for it, so we'll post it for you. So yeah, that's right. Ginny Reader said desire drives the world. I say desire drives the bus. You know what I mean? Like when you want something, you start pulling it towards you energetically. It's like it's sticky energy, desire. It brings things to you. It's why you got to be careful with desire, because you can, if you really like are desiring a specific thing, you can magnetize it to you, and you got to allow for free will. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but desire in general is the juice of life. I mean, it's what keeps this whole thing really interesting. I find that even just little bits of desire feed me. It nourishes me, right? But then we also have to have water to manifest. We have to have air to manifest. We have to have earth to manifest. And of course, spirit is the force that animates it all. So one thing I want to tell you, because you guys are asking about chimes and tuning forks. So my tuning forks and my singing bowls are made in China. And China is no longer responsive to us because of COVID. The factories have shut down again, the same way they did in March and April of last year. This really caught me by surprise because I haven't heard it talked much about in the news or anything or online. But everything is stopped. So we thought we were going to have chimes by now. We thought we were going to have bowls in July, and we thought we were going to have tuning forks at the holidays. Everything has shut down again. So I'm hoping we will have chimes maybe closer to September, October, assuming they reopen again in the next 30 to 60 days. But right now there's no communication, like nothing. So we're a little worried about what's happening. Crazy. I know, it's so crazy. So anyway, please hold space, because we need to move through this pandemic at some point and not keep having waves of it that are shutting everything down. Yeah. I didn't realize how bad it was until we started to hear from our contacts. So it's not good. Yeah. Anyway, as soon as everything opens again, I will let you know, and we will keep you posted. I'm old enough where it's like I feel like I've lived through everything that's happened on this planet. This is one of the weirdest experiences I've ever had, and especially because of the lack of communication. It's like, it's so bizarre. Can I get the beautiful metal one I gifted? I'm trying to get any of them, honestly. I'm trying to get any of the tuning forks, and it's just not happening right now. So, yeah. So, but they had been working on my singing bowls for about 3 months, and they had been working on my chimes for about 3 months. So I'm hoping once everybody reopens, it'll just be a quick process. But please hold space. I know. And thank God. I mean, a lot of the things for Crystal Masters and your soul shift tools have already gotten here, so. Yeah, American artisans don't do a lot of this work, but it would be nice to have local sources. It'd be really good. Okay, so what I want to teach you about today, and I have some really shitty drawings to show you, my very poor artwork. But let me just tell you what I think you will need for today's class. So I did go and grab out of my little pen cup some paint markers. We have our SG one, but if you haven't got one of those, I just have little Sharpies. So, Joanne, Alexis can help you with the July tools. Alexis, if you can share more information about July tools, because that way I can focus more on the class content, but people are asking, because Alexis can update you in the feed with, Alexis is trying to do a lot of things when we're live, so that's why I'm calling your attention to Alexis to just update everybody on July tools. If you want to carve into your candle tonight, what's kind of fun to do is go over it with a gold Sharpie or gold paint pen or a silver paint pen, or you can do like a colored paint pen, you know what I mean? Just to kind of give it a little emphasis. And if you don't have the tools for this month, you can carve into your own candle. Maybe you have a candle around the house you want to carve into. I chose to send you a square candle because then I can put the 4 elements here plus spirit on the top. So that was kind of my intention. But you can see the Team SG, they used kind of a glitter pen to go over the elemental symbols. because it's fancy. And you can choose to do that too. I know, right, Lola Bunny? She's crafty. Now you're going to have that song stuck in my head. Oh. Dave does that. Dave gets the shittiest songs stuck in my head, and then I'm like, and then he forgets about it, and like 2 days later, I'm still like, with like Run DMC. And I'm always like, don't you put that in my head. Don't you do it. So, have you been using your Wawa tube to clear the space? It's amazing. I have been using it every day. Through the energy field, cutting through energy, sending energy back, pulling energy in. Because it's a chime, basically, and it's attuned to that universal frequency, and so it's so good for whatever you're trying to, whether you're trying to move energy or attract energy or call energy in. It's so helpful. So please continue to use your Wawa tube. It's the easiest way to set the frequency in a room, and it's quick. And you can, like, I have my crystals on shelves, one time through each shelf. And everything is clear. I don't have any tools that are faster than that, you know? Your Wawa's on the way. I'm glad you like it. I hope you're able to get one if you wanted one. I love them too. Okay, so let me teach you a little bit. I don't have a ton of teaching for today, but I do want to walk you through all of the symbols. Now, you remember from the Platonic solids, right? The Platonic solids, Plato is an ancient philosopher, student of Socrates, right? And Plato believed that all the universe, everything in the universe, was built of 5 basic forms or shapes or sacred geometric shapes. And that is the tetrahedron, and that's why we're starting with the tetrahedron. The tetrahedron is the symbol for fire. That's a straight up triangle. So I want to show you the elemental symbols so that you can recognize them. So a straight up triangle in the Platonic solids is called the tetrahedron, and that is the symbol of the fire element. Oh, interesting. Christina said her Wa tube is louder when you hold the hole shut. Let me try that. I like it. Because I'm still... Where'd my striker go? Oh shit, what did I do with it? There it is. Okay. Let me try. Okay, so here's with the hole not closed for me, and then here's the hole closed. It's different. I like it. Yeah, they did a cute job, right? I'm glad. It's kind of inspiring, even though, like I said, there's no way I could do it. I think they did a beautiful job. So this is fire, right? And they put the sun symbol there too, and you can do that too. Super pretty, right? And then you have over here, you have earth. Oh no, I'm sorry. Earth. Earth has the line on the bottom. And I love that too. That's more of your grounding energy, stabilizing energy. Then you have air, line at the top. And then you have water. Water is literally the inverse of fire. It is the upside down triangle, right? Feminine energy, lunar energy here with fire, right? Think about water, right? And then the only addition I would make, and that I'm going to make today, is I'm going to carve a circle around the wick for the spirit element. Yeah. You know what, Jessica? I'm with you. I am also 12 years old deep down, and the open hole and closed hold comments are also making me think unpure thoughts. So I am with you in that. Isn't that cool? Yeah, Carrie just got these tattooed on her arm. I'm thinking about it. You know, I'm still searching for my tattoo artist. I figure when the time is right, I'll find my person, because I've been looking for years. I just want to have these done permanently, and then but I want to build a sleeve around it. But it's got to be the right person. But I would love to have the elements tattooed. Wouldn't that be really cool? So the fact that you did that already is like goals. Circle for the spirit element. I know. It's okay. You know, I love it. One of the things I love about our work together is we're very serious. You know what I mean? Spirituality is very serious. Personal evolution and development and transformation is very serious. And then we can talk about open and closed holes and like giggle like we're Beavis and Butthead. You know what I mean? And I'm here for that too. I think that's what helps us not take it all too seriously. Honey, I see you, Sandy. We love you. She's not feeling good today. Please let us know how you're doing. Yeah, my moons are temporary. Yeah, see, this one's coming off. Every time I go for a massage, I have to tell them that it's temporary, because when they start to rub me and it all comes off, it freaks them out, because they're like, holy shit, I have superpowers. I just took your tattoo off. I'm like, no, you didn't. It's fake. But literally every time I haven't had a massage in a long time, but I'm going on Friday. But every time they massage me and they rub them all off, they're like, lady, I just took your fucking tattoos off. I'm like, no, you didn't. Okay, you want to see the symbols again? Let's do it. So let's do it. This is water. Water is your upside down triangle. No lines. Isn't that funny? And then fire is your tetrahedron. That's your basic triangle with the point up. I'm glad I made you guys laugh. And then your triangle facing down with the line is earth. So this is like the water symbol, but with the line. Okay? Oh, Jess, fly out here and get a tattoo with me. I'll go with you. I'll take care of your kids. Bring the kids. I'll take care of them. And then I'll stick them with Dave for the day, and you and I will go get a tattoo. They can play with Bodhi. I'm not kidding. I'll go get a tattoo with you. And then the right side up triangle with the line is the air symbol. So the air symbol is fire, but with a line. The earth symbol is water, but with a line. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then the symbol for the spirit element is just a circle. And I'm going to draw that around the top. You should. Well, you know what we should do? You know what we should do? Now it looks like shit, huh? I don't care. I'm getting a massage Friday. It's going to come off anyway. I've really given this some thought. When we have a retreat again, which will probably, my hope is it will be maybe next summer, wouldn't it be fun to have a tattoo artist there? Wouldn't that be fun? Like, oops, I just happen to have a tattoo artist here who wants to do tattoos on everybody. Can you tell I'm manifesting that? Be pretty cool. Although your partners are going to be like, I send you to a retreat and now you've got a tattoo. Really? Wouldn't that be fun? Like, hey, just over in the corner. One of the first retreats I ever led was in San Diego. It's actually interesting. I'm not trying to digress. We'll get back to our work in just a second. But when I lived in San Diego 15 years ago, I had a group, kind of like Soul Shift. We met in person. It was not online, and it was called The Muse. Have I ever told you guys this story? So we got together in person at the full moon every month. And so my invocations and everything I do, I really developed when I was leading the Muse, and we always met at my house. And so that was one of our dreams in the Muse group, is we were going to have a tattoo artist come, and we were going to develop a symbol for everybody and do that together. And then I moved away from San Diego to San Francisco, and you know, we never kind of got to that point. It's interesting though, right? That's the only tattoo you would get. Yeah. It'd be super fun, and we'd all be there with each other, so if anybody's afraid, it's like, you know, we're all together. I think it'd be so much fun. Maybe I'll have a piercing, because what I want to do is I want to do all the piercings up my ear. You know, like all the way down here, they have those ones that are like really interesting long things. And then I want to, you know, maybe do my nose and other things. Look at us. Well, you know what? You can watch. If you don't want to do it, you can watch and hang out. Kenneth is like, I'm a blank canvas, baby. I love it. Lisa's got a full back tattoo. Sexy. Okay. Now, so we're going to go into a bit of a meditation, and we're going to carve these symbols in the meditations, okay? And I know that would be fun. I can't wait for in-person retreats too. Now I want to teach you a little bit about the art of symbols, okay? And I say the word sigil, S-I-G-I-L. I say it with a g sound, sigil. Some people say sigil. I'll tell you why I don't say sigil, and it's because I studied Latin. The word sigil comes from the word sigillum, S-I-G-I-L-L-U-M, which means seal. Did you know that? So I can't say sigil because it's not sigillum, it's sigillum in Latin. So we've kind of like Englishized that word, but the root of it comes from Latin, S-I-G-I-L. There's no worksheet for this class, I don't think. I'm your worksheet. These are all planetary symbols. Yeah, so what Team SG did is for each element, they added some planetary symbols, Venus and Mars and the sun and the moon, right? In somewhat in alignment. I'm not sure that I would have put the moon with Earth. It's not quite where I would have put that, but it's okay. You know what I mean? They were feeling called to it, and I like the as above, so below. And you can put stickers on these and all kinds of things, which is what they did. But that's what they did, is they basically took some of the elemental or the planetary symbols. Yeah, interesting, right? So, sigil, a sigil is a magical symbol. Now, sigils take us back really to Mesopotamia. I've studied symbols for a long time, and what I have learned in my study and in my years of looking at this is that in ancient Sumeria and Mesopotamia, they started, their language was symbolic, right? They had the first language called cuneiform, which really was like a series of these little long, skinny triangles. They had a little tool in Sumeria that was like a triangle on a stick. And so what they would do to write is they would do the triangles at different angles, and those different angles would be different words. So it was a symbolic language. And then we evolved into the hieroglyphics in Egypt. And a lot of us, myself included, believe that that was an Atlantean evolution, because the hieroglyphics are fascinating. You know, my background is somewhat in linguistics, so I'm fascinated by languages. And so the hieroglyphics function much like Sanskrit does. Do you know how Sanskrit functions as a language? It's one of the reasons why I know I'll never learn Sanskrit, but I also aspire to learn Sanskrit. In Sanskrit, each letter means something, and then the letters, when you put them together, mean something else. So each letter in a word means something, and then the word means something, and you have to look at both. It's the same with hieroglyphics. Each one of the symbols means something, but then when you look at the symbols together, 3 or 4 of them at a time, the 3 or 4 of the symbols together has a separate meaning, and you have to look at both, because the author may have meant for you to look at just the letters, and the author may have meant for you to look at all the letters together. So you have to look at both. I like complexity in that because it's kind of like a secret code, and I'm super into secret codes, right? Like, what am I missing? What do I know? It's true, and Chanel is sharing that each of the archangels has their own sigil. there is an oil shop in Seattle called Tenzing Momo. Have you heard of it? It is one of the cool. I don't know if they're still open. I honestly don't have the heart to check, because after all this shutdown this past year, I swear if Tenzing Momo shut down, I would cry. Tenzing Momo is like, if you're like me and you grew up in the 80s when metaphysical shops were like super mystical, you know what I mean? Like when you walked in and they smelled like the shop and everything was dark, and they hired magical people and all of that. That's what Tenzing Momo is for me. So about 10-15 years ago, I had an oil blended at Tenzing Momo for me. And have you guys heard of it? Tenzing Momo. You gotta look. You haven't heard of that shop? You gotta look for it. They have a website too. It's worth checking out. They're really cool. It's super magical. And the woman who made my perfume actually designed a sigil for me. I didn't ask for it. She did that completely. She was like, I just want you to know I'm sending you your perfume, and I felt inspired to make a sigil out of your name. And so she hand wrote the label on my perfume with a sigil for me. Isn't that cool? Yes. They're online? Okay, good. I'm so glad. I know the Bodhi Tree closed down. That broke my heart. Tenzing Momo has a new website? Guess what I'm doing tonight? Okay, good. I'm glad to know they're still open. How did you live in Seattle for 5 years and you didn't know about Tenzing Momo? Holy shit. Yeah, you have to seriously look up Tenzing Momo. It is iconic. It's like Sword in the Rose in San Francisco is Tenzing Momo in Seattle. It is such a beautiful place. I'm so glad they're still open. Go visit the website later. Don't leave now. But tonight we all need to be on tenzingmomo.com. Anyway, they make their own stuff. They make their own incense. They make their own this. They make their own that. It's super cool. It can be expensive sometimes, but it's old time, and sometimes that's worth more, Anyway, I love them. But the woman made a sigil out of my name. I have often thought I would love to be able to do something like that at SG. I wouldn't be able to do it like on a grand scale, but like I would love to create sigils for people. Because I love words and I love letters, and I like finding different ways to put letters and words together. So Lori Michelle's asking a really great question. Do you believe sigils have to be burned to be activated? Most pagans I know will tell you yes. Okay? And when I was growing up in the pagan path, I was always taught you had to write your sigil and then burn it. And I was taught in my priestessing program that you have to look in the smoke. So you take your sigil. Don't judge me on this. This is like a really shitty sigil. This is not a good sigil. I'll show you on the other camera. It's shitty though. So what you do when you're making a sigil is you take your name, you cross out all the vowels, you remove any redundant letters, you boil it down to just those consonants, and then you take those letters and you make a shape. Light code kind of looks like that, okay? So in Athena, I would take out all the vowels, right? I'm down to THN, and then you take the T and the H, and you want to connect the lines of the letters to make a... Now, there's 100 different ways to do this, right? I haven't tried their Sinus Blaster. Let me try their Sinus Blaster. Okay. I was always taught you have to burn. So you write your sigil, you take the paper, you light it on fire, you put it in a fireproof bowl, you watch the smoke, and the smoke is supposed to show you the final version of the sigil. In the shape of the smoke, you're supposed to see the final version of your sigil. I don't do that. Fire for me is not an activating force, and maybe it's because I'm so much fire. Fire for me is a releasing force. It's not an activating force. So because that's my own personal belief and my own personal practice, I don't do it. But having said that, if you want to do that, give it a go. I'm going to teach you how to do a sigil tonight. I'm going to ask a favor. I would love for you to share what you create in our Facebook group, because I think it will inspire people. It's super fun. And what I love about sigils is everybody can do it. There's no right or wrong way to do it. I actually think you should focus on sigils of with energies of releasing right now, because we're in a waning moon phase until July 9, which is the new moon, and then we'll be in a waxing moon phase. So I would focus on sigils of releasing right now, and then after July 9th, I would focus on sigils of attraction, right, or sigils of magnification. Your name you can do at any time, right? So Danielle's would be DNL, and then Danielle, you'd want to think about the shape of each of those letters and how you'd want to bring them together to create. It's basically art. Bonnie Hedgewood in our group, I don't know if she's here right now. I hate to call you guys out, but sometimes I want to talk about what you're doing. So I don't know if she's here. Bonnie has been doing light code work, and I now I go and look for her posts because her light codes are legit. And her light codes, I think of light codes as another form of a sigil. Light codes are also these shapes. Now, sometimes they have letters in them, sometimes they don't. But what Bonnie's been doing with her light code work is really energetically powerful. So you should, if you're friends with her or you follow her on Facebook or on Instagram, she's here. I have to tell you, I really receive those light codes. Like when I see your posts, I really feel the energy of them. I hope it's okay for me to tell everybody to go look at them. Will you put your, if you're open to it, only if you're open to it, Bonnie, will you put your Instagram handle? Because I think it'd be fun for you to see. Yeah, Bonnie is Island Girl in the feed. I hope it's okay for me to call you out like that. But her light codes are legit. And so that's another example. If you see her work and what she's doing, it might really inspire you too to think about how to work with symbol and how to work with energy that wants to be manifested in this written form. And what I love about it is writing isn't easy for everybody, right? People don't want to sit down and write a poem. They don't want to draw a picture, right? But they do want to draw and kind of doodle and kind of like put letters together without it having to mean something, right? And that taps into, if you were in the manifestation class last night, that taps into what I was calling hot cognition. Okay, the cold cognition is I tell you to sit down and write a paper or an essay. Okay, thank you, Bonnie, by the way, I really appreciate it. Hot cognition is I just want you to freeform. I want you to sit and draw. I want you to create images that are resonating with your consciousness. Close your eyes and put the pen to the paper and draw, right? So light codes are a whole different thing. Light codes, and there's an interesting consistency between like Bonnie's light codes, the woman who made my hummingbird drum back there has light codes all the way around the edge. Sigils and light codes are not exactly the same thing. Light codes are, we believe, an interdimensional transmission that shows up in these kind of, and I don't know if Bonnie's got a better way of putting it than I do, but in these like, do you ever see like Rorschach, like the Rorschach ink blot test? You know what I mean? Where you draw and then you open it and it's got kind of a mirrored image. A lot of times light codes will be these like mirrored images of these different shapes and they all kind of meld together. But when you let your vision go soft and you really just focus on those images, like with Bonnie's, it does something. I mean, her stuff activates an energy in my field, and it's hard to describe except to say, I think it's real. And so anyway, I want to encourage you, you can Google light codes and you can find a lot of information about them. You can Google sigil, you can follow Bonnie. I think these are all really interesting ways for you to see how really incredible people are creating these magical symbols, and that and my belief is energy is transmitted through sigils and light code, and it doesn't have anything to do with words or sentences or even concrete thoughts. It's really an abstract form of communication, but it speaks to more of the subconscious aspects of your cognitive self. It speaks to your old brain, as I was teaching you last night. It speaks to the limbic system, which doesn't deal in words and phrases. It really deals in energy. It deals in frequency. So see what you think. Some people see light codes and they're not moved by it, and I think that's okay too. I mean, we're not all the same. But man, if I stare too long, even at a picture of a light code, like I start to feel like I'm going into another dimension. Like I have to, at some point I have to close it. So we'll play with sigils tonight. And And I'm happy to play with some of yours too. And you may want to play with yours and with other people's too. Yeah, well, the new brain knows nothing about sigils or light codes. The prefrontal cortex, which is your new brain, that we've only had for really just a few thousand years, this prefrontal cortex, that's responsible for your ability to analyze information and to synthesize information and organize information, and it detects harm in your field, right? So it increases your fight or flight response. It's all happening in your modern brain. Part of that's happening in your limbic system too. But what's happening in your limbic system is more sort of like it's the gut reaction, right? It's the I smell something and I'm drawn to it, or I see something and I'm drawn to it, and I can't explain to you why. It's just it's pulling me on this magnetic, energetic level. That's the limbic system. Mm-hmm. And so post it in the Facebook group. I would love to see it. I'm happy to try with some of your, whether you want to do a name or you want to do a magical name or a nickname, or you want to play with your business name. I've never done one for Sage Goddess. I'd have to think about what that would look like. I don't know why I've never done one, but I just haven't done it. It's interesting, right? So I'm glad you're into that. So think of your sigil, and light codes are kind of the same way for me. Think of it as a seed. Think of it as a seed. It's not the whole plant, right? It's not the whole message. It's the core transmission, and I think that's why your central nervous system responds to it. It's like you know how to fill in the rest of the blanks. It's just giving you kind of the upshot. And Bonnie says she recommends grounding yourself around light codes too, so that's interesting as well. Bree says she does sigils on her wands based on the intended purpose for the wand. Isn't that cool? And you could burn your, those wood burning tools. Like if you get into that, you could burn the, when I was studying as a priestess trainee, I was 18, so this was 30 years ago. There was one of the women in the coven was a wood burner, and she created sigils. And so at the time I couldn't afford it because I could barely afford the tuition for the program. I was a starving student. So I couldn't do it, but I was so envious because other people had them done. She would do a sigil for you, and then she would burn it into like a slice of wood, like a slice of oak or a slice of birch or a slice of, whatever. And so you guys could consider doing that too. I mean, that actually could be a business, right? If you really get into this, you could get one of those wood burning tools, and you could actually, take different, here I am telling you to start a business, but I'm just saying, if you got really into this, you could paint them for people, you could write them for people, you could burn them for people. I literally remember the day she handed out all these ones that she had done, and I was kind of sitting there going, because there wasn't one for me. But I look back and I'm like, if I was really meant to have one, the universe would have blessed me with it. So obviously there's some reason why at the time I couldn't access that. That's a great question from Heidi Kelly. You know that? Heidi's asking, how are sigils and runes similar and different? It's a great question. So the runes, remember that the runes are not unlike sigils in the sense that they communicate much more than just the concept they represent, right? The runes are considered alive. The runes were channeled by Odin, right, when he hung from Yggdrasil, right, the world tree, for 9 days. And so during that 9-day vision quest, and that's where the hanged man image in the major arcana comes from, is Odin hanging on Yggdrasil, right? So after his 9-day vision quest, he channeled all of these runic symbols. But the runes are never as easy as just like, oh, Fehu is wealth or whatever. Like, it's much more complicated than that. So in a way, the runes are also sigils. Not in exactly the same way that I'm teaching you today, because you're not taking a word and removing the consonants and then removing redundant letters and then reducing it down. Like, there's a different process. But if we think of the true Latin roots of the word sigil, right, which is a seal. something that you would put on a letter, right, in ancient times with your signet ring, right? Then I think we can think of the runes as sigils, because they are symbols. They are holy, sacred symbols that represent more than just the one or two words that they represent. Yeah. It's fascinating. And if you think about it, you know, the symbolics, these systems of symbols, right, that we work with, there aren't that many. And most people don't know how to translate cuneiform, for example. So the runes are kind of one of the most important symbolic systems that we continue to translate and work with today. And then we have the elemental symbols, which are very important because, again, you look at the symbol of fire, for example, right? But that represents so much more than fire. It represents creation. It represents transformation. It represents the entire direction of the south. It represents all of the animal spirit allies that reside in the south. So like the element of fire represents creation and destruction. It represents change and transformation. It represents opening, and it represents expanding energies, and it represents a whole series of these allies, right, who align to that direction. So you look at this one symbol of the triangle, and it's like, it's so much more complicated than that. And that's what I love about it, right, is that it means a lot more than just what it looks like. Yeah, rune tattoos would be very cool. And the legend with the runes, as I'm sure you know, we talked about this years ago, is if you have all of the runes in a circle, that's why we did the flash tattoos like that. If you have all the runes in a circle, according to the Norse tradition, that activates an entire healing container. And so I have a rune bracelet. We did rune rings where we had remember the sterling silver rings with all the runes all the way around them? Because you want to have all the runes in one circle and wear it. And the Vikings would do that. They would do armbands of all the runes around their arm, right? Yeah. Sigils mostly have straight lines, and light code is kind of a blend of the curves and the circles and the lines together. Mm-hmm. And I will say, I think signet rings should make a comeback. I've thought about doing a line of them with just first initials at Sage Goddess that you would wear on because in ancient times, and all of the monarchs, right, always had a signet ring. They either wore it on their pinky finger or they wore it on their ring finger. And when they signed a contract or they signed a letter, that was really their official signature. You had to break that seal to open it. A lot of my most magical friends in my personal life have signet rings. I don't have one, but I have a friend who makes them, and I'm always like, I should commission a signet ring for him, but I feel like I've had a lot of rings and I don't need more rings. But wouldn't signet rings be a thing? I mean, and a signet ring is really just you taking your sigil and then being able to use it with the wax seals, right? You had one in the 80s. That's really, really cool. Yeah, we should bring the rune bracelets back. I know. Been a long time. Okay, so what I want you to think about tonight, this is why I'm going through all of this before we do the crafting, because I want you to really focus on what do you want to do with this candle. I think it would be cool if we took a few minutes. Do you have a piece of paper and a pen? Very official tools. Yeah, so signet rings can be a sigil. Now, sometimes they're not. Sometimes a signet ring is just an initial, right? Like you'll just see an A, or you'll see an A and a P or whatever, like my initials. But in ancient times, they would do a sigil, or they would do a symbol. I will tell you, I think of family crests as sigils. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think of them that way. I really do. When the person who's building some furniture for me at Sage Goddess is the same man who built Kat Von D's house. I don't know if you've seen her house, but she's got crazy furniture in there, and he does all of her wood carving. And he did in her kitchen, over her oven, he did the family crest, because she and her husband have made their own family crest. And you would not believe the detail. I mean, there's snakes and there's initials and all of his stuff. I mean, it's a proper family crest. I think of that as a sigil because it's got the initials, it's got the, they both love snakes, it's got the whole thing in there. And so I was able to see up close her crest because he was showing me pictures of her kitchen because I'm doing something that's kind of like what she did in her kitchen. And I was like, oh, interesting, that's their family crest. And so he zoomed in so I could see the detail. And it's incredible. I mean, and so she's woven into that family crest, she's woven in their names, their symbols, everything that is sacred to them. And that's in her crest. So you can also think of family crests. I don't have a family crest, but she's made one, and I think it's kind of a cool thing. I wouldn't know what to put in my family crest. Puppies and cats. Doesn't really make for a very sexy family crest. Cats and dogs and peacocks. But anyway, it was pretty neat to be able to see all of that. That's cool. Novice Novelist has a friend who's starting a heraldry business. I mean, talk about these like ancient arts that are not really done anymore. I love seeing that. I love seeing that come back too. So if you want to experiment with it for just a second before we start carving, what you want to do is you want to think about, and you can do your whole name if you want. I think first names are pretty cool. If you have a magical name, a lot of you have magical names that you've chosen over the years. Hummingbirds. I would like you to write down what it is you want to make a sigil for. Does anybody want me to work on yours? I already did my first name. It wasn't that interesting, but if anybody wants, I'll work on yours too. And then we'll walk through the process together. And that gives me something to work on that is different than my own. I get bored with my own name. And tiny hands. Yeah, you can do your manifestations too. I like that. Yeah, Lisa's just like LS. Okay, so let me start with Karen, and let me see how far I get. So what you're gonna do, and I'll come back and I'll do a couple of you. It doesn't take that long, and it's kind of fun to play with it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write Karen. This is how you start, and I always do capital letters. Karen Kelly. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to cross out the consonants. So I have K-R-N, okay? And then that's the artistic part. So I have to look at this now, and I want you to do it with your name. I have to look at the K, the R, and the N and think about how I want to combine them. So what I tend to do is take the 3 letters down and write them again, okay? Yeah, you know what, Janisa? I think the chakra symbols are another form of a sigil, right? It's basically, the chakra symbols are basically the elemental energies of the chakras. So it's kind of like a shorthand, if you will. And that's what sigils are too. No, your vowels are going to be A, E, I, O, and U. Everything else is considered a consonant. So I'm going to play with K-R-N. So give me just a second and you work on yours. Christina's fun because that's a long name. But then Christina, we're going to go in and take the I's out and the A. So you're going to end up with C-H-R-S-T-N. Yep. We got a lot of Karens. So I'm actually working on multiple for you at once. Let's see. So I'm going to do... There's a couple different ways I can do this. Let's see. Ooh. Yeah, I don't like that one. Here's the one I like best. Here's the N. Here's the K, and then I put the R next to it. It looks just like KR, but the N is in there too. Also, this one over here has the N, the K, and then I added the loop at the top to make the R. And so if I do Karen Kelly, the whole name, it's Kelley. So I'm going to take all the vowels out, redundant letters. So I'm going to end up with K, R, N, Y. So let me try Karen Kelly's full name. Interesting, right? So Lael's got a great question. So she's like, you take out the redundant letters. That's right. So she ends up with LS H B. LSHB. So Lael, is it Lael or Lael? LSHB. So for Lael or Lael, let me know. L H B. Oh, wrong camera. L S, because I tried to mirror the B with Lael's. Oh, Lael, like sail. Thank you. Did you tell me that before and I forgot? I hate that when I do that. I was trying to pronounce it like it's Hebrew. Because in Hebrew, Yael is Y-A-E-L, and it's Yael. I had two graduate students who were from Israel named Yael in the same year, which was really weird. Yeah. So you can play. So Janine Gibbons wants me to work on hers. JN. Yeah, JN. So JN. Here's what I would do with JN. Yeah, Gloria is GLR. Kind of like that. Kind of fun, right? JLMS is Julie Morris. Well, you'd have an R in there too. So it'd be JLMRS. So J. Actually, let me do it this way. So J. what I did, Julie Morris. I don't know. Do you see all the letters? There's J, L, M, R, and S. And these are just like, I mean, this is quick, like, you can really get artistic. If you do your sigils with a calligraphy pen, you know about like with the different angles of the ink, you can do like narrow and kind of fatter lines, and then you can look up calligraphy letters, and you'll see different forms to write your letters and where you can kind of hook the S to the Y to the H to the G, right? It's kind of neat. Stacy, so S-T-C-Y. S-T-C-Y. This is for Lola Money. So S already has your C in it. T. I don't know if you're gonna like it, but S C Y T. It's kind of neat, and that one you might be able to visualize with calligraphy, right? Where like some of the lines would be wider and some of them would be thinner, and it can end up looking really beautiful. Yeah, and you can totally do them vertically. The one that the woman did for me was vertical at VLR at Tenzing Momo. So VLR. Ooh. It's fun because I like a challenge. I don't know about you, but I enjoy a challenge. VLR. Isn't that fun? Let me do one more. Yeah, Renee's asking, use Renee or Angela Renee. It's up to you. I'll tell you when it comes to this, not everybody's super attached to their first name. They're more attached to their middle name. They're more attached to a nickname. Go with the name that really has resonance for you. You know? For me, it's Athena. Some people really don't like their first name, or they just have stopped using it completely. Bonnie Hedgewood would be BNHGWD. BNHGWD. Now listen, light code lady. I have faith in you. B. I usually start with the B's because they're tricky. BG. H. N. Let's see. W. Okay, I'm on to something interesting here with this one, Bonnie. I don't know what you think. So you've got the N and the H and the B, and then I brought the D around it. And then the W is, you kind of see the W is being woven in there. And then I brought the, like when I did the B, I kind of brought it around to do the G. And then I built the additional H, N, and then kind of saw the W. I don't know. You can kind of see where I'm going with that. Because the D actually rolls into the G too. It's like shorthand. So I have a friend who swears, Debbie, not to do the letters backward. I don't know if I believe it. but she's just like, never do a sigil backwards. I don't know. You know people like that where they're like, oh my God, a sigil backward. And it's just like, it's not the end of the world. But there are practitioners who will tell you not to do that, okay? Numbers, I've always been taught to do it with letters. But you know what I would say is if your intuition is really leading you to add numbers or to add anything else into it, give it a go. And you may find, some of you may find, that the light codes and the sigil, if you start doing both, kind of weave into each other. So it's like you're working on a sigil, but then all of a sudden you're doing these other designs and stuff, and it may end up that you end up channeling these like light coded sigils, right? Marie DePaulo said hers was easy. So this is what I want to, I know it's already 5:30. This is what I want to do. I want to have you continue. I'm going to continue too. And I want you to share it in our Facebook group. And I'll keep playing. Like, I'm happy to give it a go too. And you're also supposed to not mix upper and lower case, Sharon. But, you know, again, these are like purists, right? I would say if you really want to use lowercase, give it a go. And the most important thing that I have found is helpful is check out calligraphy, because you're going to see 3 or 4 different ways to make a G, 3 or 4 different ways to make some of the more complex letters, and it might really inspire you. If you do more of a loopy R, then you can work that R into other symbols, right? If you do a very straight R, then you're not going to see how to connect it. So if your letters start to become a little loopy-loosey, it gets a little bit more interesting. It's fun, right? And I'm telling you, if you make anything, if you craft anything, if you have a shop and you send packages to people, if you do readings for people, I hope you will incorporate this. How fun as a customer if you were doing a reading for somebody, and every time you did a reading for somebody, you did a sigil for them when you were prepping your reading for them. Wouldn't that be a unique part of your service? Or maybe you make stuff and you ship stuff to people. Well, on the package, wouldn't it be cool? I mean, I don't know, as a customer, when that woman did that for me, you guys, I thought that was like one of the coolest things anybody had ever done. So what a cool kind of add-on thing for you to do if you're an artist. At least from my perspective, I think it's super cool. Okay, did I lose my carving tool? Hold on, you guys. Oh, Alexis. I swear to God, you can't take me anywhere. Oh no, it's here. Okay. So I'm gonna come over here. Alexis, I know, always like hyperventilates when I can't find my shit during class because she's not here to help me. I'm on my own. Ooh, I want to see your sigil. Alexis did LXS. I want to see that. I really, really do. So please post it. Okay, so let's sit the really nice one over here and let's do mine. So I'm going to start for myself, and I may end up adding to this as we go. I usually end up, I mean, it's never going to look like that, but I will, yeah, I know you can't leave me at home alone either. So I'm going to set an intention for this candle that, and I would love for you to do the same, that as I mark this candle, I think it's okay to do something for someone's business. I would ask them first. You know, I think that's a good courtesy as long as you're doing your own stuff. But I think it's good to probably get permission. So I'm going to start with an intention, and my intention is that as I burn this candle, that I am able to activate elemental energies and embody elemental energies. That's my intention. So I'm going to take my tool. Use the other end, maybe. Let me see how deep this goes in. Yeah, this is good. And I'm going to go clockwise and carve my circle. It's so intimidating, at least for me. Like, it's like, oh my God, I'm carving into this thing, and if I screw it up. But you have to let go of that when you're doing magical stuff and just be in the moment and go with the flow. numbers off of there. And that's a pretty good circle. I'm going to go over it one more time because I do want it to be relatively deep. I might end up inlaying some of these with stones, so I want to have, or like rhinestones might be good for this too, or like dust. You know, I go into my stone bins and just get the stone dirt out of there and craft with that too. And then you can go in with your paint pen. Make sure this, yeah, it's good. It has ink. And then you can go over with your paint pen. And like I said, if you have glitter pens and like all the cool kid art supplies, I don't have all that, but if you have all that, you can really sex that up. I'm here all week, folks. Alexis. Okay. Now, I'm going to begin in the east because I like to begin in the east. So I'm going to do my air element symbol now. As we work with the air element symbol, as you draw this into your candle, I really want you to focus on the element of air here. What does air represent, right? Air for me represents clarity. It represents consciousness. It represents beginnings of cycles, right? So, and I want a nice big air element symbol here. So even as I'm carving, I'm imagining like, ooh, that line of clear connection, right? That line of clear thought and that line of clear vision. Spirit guided, spirit led, being able to see clearly all aspects of a situation without projections, without assumptions. And also that I'm able, on this side of the candle, to initiate energy. I'm able to begin. I'm able to start. I'm able to birth, right? And then as we do the line at the top, it's like flying high above your life, like eagle, right? Like these are your wings up here, soaring above, expanding, spreading. It's a shitty line, but you know what? It's going to be good enough, baby. You're shitty, but you're mine. So don't talk bad about me. I'm good enough. Okay. That's right, higher grounds. I like that. Higher ground. Elevation, right? Above, above, above. It feels really good to go in and paint on this. This is the same paint marker that we sent you eons ago with one of your crafts, so some of you might have that, or you might have like a Sharpie or something that works. You can do it in black too, you don't have to do it in gold or whatever. Air. And then next up in our elemental breakdown, as we move our way around the wheel, the next element is fire. Right? We go from east to south. You think different with air? Tell me, Janisa, what do you think? Because you may inspire somebody with your vision that's a little bit different than mine. And then with fire, remember, it's just the basic triangle. It's that tetrahedron. So we're doing the same shape here, but without the line across the top. That's what the fire element looks like. Just thinking about what fire represents to you: change, transformation, courage, strength, burning through limitations, burning through hesitation, taking action, decisive action, trusting your instincts for me is very fire energy. It's like not overthinking, just doing, going with it. Embracing your desires is fire. Lava, I love that too. And then the next one we're going to carve as we move around the wheel is we are going to go west to water. And so water is the opposite of fire. So this is fire. Water is the reverse triangle. So you start with a nice, flat, straight line at the top. Like that. And then you bring those two lines down. And here with water, we want to think about flow and healing and purification and release in the south or in the west. The west is associated with sunset, right? And with fall. It's not the end of the day, but it's the winding down, right? The sun is not center sky here. So this is a time of day for relaxation, for reflection, right? For letting go so that we can relax and sleep. Like, that's how I think about water. And so here, as I go over that design, I'm just focusing on release, so that when I look at this candle, I burn this candle, I can release what's needed, from my body, from my mind, from my spirit, from my heart. Ooh, Candy's doing chipstones. Girl, I want to see that. I really do want to see it. And then the last element is earth. So earth is the same as water, but it has the line at the bottom. So we're going to do the same design here, if you're doing it in the order I'm doing it. And you don't have to. You can do whatever order you want. You literally cannot fuck this up. So however you choose to do it is just perfect for you. So there's a nice flat line at the top. And then we're bringing the edges down. Hey Jess, how did your dad's surgery go today, by the way, as we're doing this? He's on my mind as I'm thinking about the earth element. And then as we do so grounding, stability, father energy in the north, right? Protection. And then as we do this line across the bottom here, it's like grounding yourself into the earth itself. Like, this is always a place you can come. You'll always be accepted. It can always hold you. Yeah. I like that a lot. Saya's got a great suggestion that you could put your personal sigil on the bottom of the candle. You could put it on each side too. What you could do too, and I'm just doing a little energy work here as I finish this design. What you could do too is you could put your personal sigil and weave it into each elemental symbol. Wouldn't that be cool too? That's another way that you can incorporate your personal symbols. Okay, now you can take that to in 100 different directions and zhuzh that up and make that as fancy Nancy as you want to, and I hope that you will. I mean, it would take us like 6 hours for me to be like inlaying my stones and doing all the things, but I am going to keep evolving mine, and it sounds like you're going to keep evolving yours, so I hope we're going to share the examples of that. So what I want to do now, in addition to cleaning off my my mat, because I just put all my little poopers all over my mat, and that wasn't really what I wanted to do. So let me clean my poopers off. Hold on. All my little wax drippings. You want to see Earth again? Okay, hold on. Let me clean off my grid real quick. Little wax shavings. Yeah, these are the stones from the kit that you got. Because the intention was to grid. And what we did is we gave you stones with your kit this month that represent can represent the 5 elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. So let me show you what that will look like. So we gave you a clear quartz pyramid that you can put in the center. I love this art, by the way. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. And that is a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh. He's one of my spiritual idols. What an amazing spirit, right? So you can align these to the elements in whatever way makes the most sense for you. These are stones that represent joy, that represent clarity, that represent breath. I always think of, when I think of the South, which we'll consider this the South on the grid, I always think of sunstone. And when I think of the East, this is the North over here. When I think of the East, I always think of rutilated quartz or citrine. I'm going to put aventurine for. Now I'm going to put aventurine for the North, and I'm going to put. Decided between pyrite and ocean jasper. I'm going to put ocean jasper for the West, because that's a stone of purification as well. And then pyrite, I'm going to consider my stone of spirit. So I'm going to place that above the other 4. Now you can choose to align those in different directions if you want, if the way I've laid it out doesn't resonate with you. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my blend from this month, and I'm just going to anoint just one little drop on each of the stones. Dropped a little bit on my grid too, but that's okay. It smells really good. I'm just going to rub it in. So just anointing each of the stones with our blend, because that's your openness blend, so it's like you're opening the energy. And this is important for right now because we're getting ready to go into a really big opening phase next month in alchemy as we leave these closed phases of that really heavy work that we've been doing about releasing and transmuting, and now we're going into union energy and expansion, right, with conjunction. And so I'm going to activate this grid, and if you have a grid, you can activate yours as well. If you don't, I'm going to hold up my wand when I'm done for you to activate another stone or something else in your collection that you want to work with. So I'm activating chords for magnification and programming and to raise the frequency for this grid, which is elemental balance and activation. I activate pyrite for the spirit element, which represents an animating force in our universe that helps us all feel worthy and connected and empowered. And back to quartz. I activate this golden aventurine for earth element to represent the, aventurine does so many different things. How do I want to anchor this one? Aventurine is for expansion and for our planet's ability to hold us and to help us to create the experiences and the beauty that each one of us is able to manifest in our own unique way. And back to quartz for magnification. And out to rutilated quartz here for the air element, which represents openness to change, flexibility, clarity, faith, beauty, also with rutilated quartz. And back to quartz for magnification. And then down here to sunstone. My perfume smells really good, by the way. I hope yours does too. Down here to sunstone for power, for leadership, for courage, for strength. And back to quartz for magnification. And out to ocean jasper for mama medicine in the west, water medicine in the west, obviously with ocean jasper, and for connecting us to our deepest emotions, for healing and transmutation and release. And back to quartz for magnification. So I activate this grid today to harness the energy of the elements and balance the energy of the elements for my practice and for all those with whom I work and share this work as well. Amen, aho, and so it is. And so if you have your grid, I'm just connecting my grid to yours. If you don't have your grid, or you don't have a grid but you're going to build one later, you can connect your pyramid or your obelisk or your generator to the termination of my wand so that it has the same energy, the same intention infused into it. So good, right? So, may the energies of the East bless you with new beginnings, with faith, with clarity, with the ability to see above and beyond your circumstances. East brings the dawn, right? It's the start of a new day, start of a new cycle. And then East melts into South. This is your way, baby. We're in that place. It's good. Get in there, Lena. This is not a real big cognitive, intellectual exercise. This is bringing it into the body, right? Oh, thank you for being here, Tanya. Happy birthday to your hubby today. You're so lucky you have a Cancer hubby. It's so great. And so in the South, may the guardians of the South, the elementals of the South, may they bless you with power and strength and curiosity and playfulness and change that brings blessings to your life in the South. And then the South blends in. I'm a generator, Dr. Chris. I never get tired. I do get tired sometimes, but it's that generator buzz, baby. Aren't they good? So that South, that Southern energy melts into the West, where transformation gives way to healing. had fun tonight. And may the West bless you with unconditional love. It's mother energy, right? May it bless you with financial abundance and flow. May it bless you with purification and the ability to release what isn't serving you anymore. Yeah, super good, right? Oh, they put me to sleep too. They really do. And then the West yields to the North. It's one of my favorite transitions. And in the North, we have gifts here too. Patience, protection, purpose, support. This is father and grandfather energy in the North. Stability, wisdom. I'm summoning all the lightning and thunder for you guys on the East Coast. And then we close the circle by letting North meet East one more time. Yeah, North meets East, and we close the circle. And then I'm going to unwind it. These are called Koshi chimes. When you find them, I don't have them for sale for you right now because of the pandemic, but you can find them on Etsy under that name. If you really want to get a set right now and you don't want to wait, I don't blame you. They're so great. Ours are very similar. Ours are made by the same manufacturer. Yeah. So I'm going to release those elements now. Releasing Earth, going counterclockwise. Oh, I love you guys too. Releasing Earth. And letting Earth lead us to the release of water. They're super beautiful. Yeah, Alexis will post the name of them for you, and we'll find the link to be able to share if you want to get them from Etsy too, because it's going to be a while before ours are here, I think. And so we're releasing water tonight. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for teaching us your medicine. Thank you for teaching us your sacred shapes. And water helps us release fire. Letting go of those energies tonight of transformation and power and courage and strength. We're giving thanks for the blessings that they brought for our class and our ceremony today. And then fire releases air. So we made our way around the whole wheel tonight. And we give thanks for all of those energies of clarity and beauty and expansion and vision. Releasing, releasing, releasing. was nice, wasn't it? Part of why I was so excited about class today, truly, is yesterday's manifestation class was very rigorous. I taught that class and prepared that class like a graduate seminar I would have taught 15 years ago at university, right? And so that was big, thick, deep kind of focus and stuff. I wanted today to be more embodied, writing and carving and listening and feeling and but not, I didn't want it to be too intellectual. So hopefully the blend of these two things, and also thinking about, again, how these elements help you manifest, right? Because you can't manifest without the 4 elements. You need air, you need movement, right? You need a place to begin. You need clarity and vision and foresight, and you need the capacity to breathe life into something to manifest, right? So everything begins in the East, everything. And it goes back to that Hermetic principle that all is mind, right? Everything begins in the mind. It doesn't end in the mind, but it begins in the mind. And then with fire, desire is the gasoline for the fire of creation, right? So it's like, what do you want? What's burning inside of you? What wants to come through you? What wants to be born through you? And so we need fire for manifestation. Water is the essence of the flow state. We have to be able to understand flow and let go and surrender and release and allow, and and I talked about that last night too. So water is very important for manifestation, as we know. And then earth is materializing the vision. We have to be able to bring it into being, touch it with our hands. We also sometimes have to be patient in the manifestation process. We have to stay on purpose and stay grounded and stay aligned with what it is we're trying to create. And sometimes we have to take our time, right, and not rush through it. And that's all eastern or northern energies of earth. So each one of those elements is critical to the process. And for me to certify you as an elemental healer this year, it's really important for me that you know that. You know what I mean? Again, because I think if you can layer this into your healing practice, whether you're a Reiki master or a body worker or an artist, because you guys are all of those things and more. If you're a writer, right? Think about your clients, your future clients, even if you're not practicing yet. They come to you, you're doing a reading, they know you've got your elemental altar set up, that you've called in the elements. Maybe you're assigning them a personal element to work with. Maybe you're designing a sigil for them and incorporating the elemental symbols into it. My intention with Soul Shift is that eventually you take this and you share it with other people, what I teach you. And you'll do that in your own unique way, right? And for each one of you, that will look really different. But I like the idea that you have all these little bits and bobs in your toolkit, because this is the stuff that really, and thank you for that, Priestess Justice, it's really sweet. This is the stuff that sets you apart, because there's so much intention behind this. And this is also the stuff that really gives you confidence, I think, right? Going out and sharing your gifts and your skills, because there's a lot to it. And the more you know, the more you can share. So it's really important to me. So anyway, what a beautiful experience with you guys. I'm really glad you were here. I keep smelling my hands because that perfume that we made this month, that opening blend, that journey to openness, I don't know what it is about that combination, but it's intoxicating to me. It must be an aphrodisiac. Isn't that cool? Lori's daughter asked her to create a sigil for her. Like, of course she did. Now you know how to do it. You're going to do a great job, right? Yeah. So, let me, couple of things real quick before I let you go. Because a lot of you are asking about perfume around the world. If you bought your tools without your 25% code, you need to write to support.sagegoddess.com. They are going to refund you. Like, if you used your 20% code, they're going to refund you the extra 5%, no questions asked. They felt terrible that, some of you didn't realize you had a code, and they're like, oh shit. So your code is SS Perfume. SS Perfume for 25% off of the Perfume Around the World class and tools. And you can do just the class, or you can do the class and the tools. Doesn't matter to me. If you've got your own oils, maybe you just want to come and learn and hang out. So that's okay too. So your 25% code for that is SS Perfume. And like I said, the tools are about a third of the way sold out, and I don't have any more. So I would recommend getting your tools earlier than later. Your 25% code off of this will work until the tools sell out. So you don't have to go and get them tonight, but I would keep an eye. I'll try to let you know as they get more limited. Tomorrow I'm going to be going live on our main page, you know, the big community, and into the perfumery Facebook group. So I haven't really talked too much about this publicly yet. I will be tomorrow. So that's why I want to give you guys a reminder if you want to take that class. Yeah. You can add it to your cart and check out with other things. It's only going to apply the 25% to the rest of your order. And that's actually an interesting question, Alexis. If they want to buy other things, you may want to place 2 separate orders, is what I'm thinking, if you want to buy 2 separate things, because your 25% code only works on this kit and class, and then your 20 heat is going to work on anything else that you want to purchase. So you may want to do them separately. Alexis will help. Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, I call it perfuming because when I was taught aromatherapy, the woman I was taught by first was from the UK, but she called it perfuming. She called it perfumery. She didn't call it aromatherapy. And so I've always called it perfuming because even though I was taking aromatherapy classes, and this was back when I was in high school, the teacher, who was an aromatherapist, called herself a perfumist. She called it perfumery. So I still stay with that. The code will work until everything is gone. Yeah, that's a one-time code, and it's only for those tools, and you can use it whenever you want. Yeah, maybe that's why. So is that helpful for you? All right, you guys, have a great rest of your evening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here too, Alexis. I really appreciate you. And I will be live doing other things tomorrow. We don't have class tomorrow, so you get a little bit of a break. But I'll be live talking about the perfuming class tomorrow. If you want to join me, I'd love to have you. And you're so welcome. Yeah, support team is standing by to give you that 5% back because it's yours. And like I said, in my world, 5%'s a lot of money. So go get your refund. Are the ingredients pesticide free? Yes. Yeah, and these are all custom distilled oils. Yeah. They're not all organic because not all of these oils are available in an organic form in the world. So, but they are free of chemicals. I mean, these are just the pure plants, and these are distilled by really high quality distilleries. So they're very pure, very potent. Yeah, I think you're gonna love them. The quality is lovely for the price. Again, I can't believe we were able to do that kit for $60. This whole thing is $60 minus 20% for the 3 custom bottles, the 9 essential oils, the 3 carrier oils, the cards, everything, the box. It's like, it's a good value. And you guys can let us know, is there anybody that would be interested in tools but not the class? We didn't include that as an option because I just figured most people would want to take the class. But would anybody want just the tools without the class? You can let me know that too. We've been talking about it, but I was like, I don't know that people want just the oils but not the class. I'm open to it. You know, maybe you have your own process and you don't need to learn. And then you can diffuse these blends, Amanda, you sure can. In your essential oil diffusers, whether it's electric or the Egyptian ones that we've had, you can diffuse them too. Yeah, you want to see the bottles? So this is the Egyptian bottle, or French bottle. It's heavy. It's beautiful. And this is a spray. Isn't that gorge? Yeah, so this is the bottle for France. It looks like something you'd find in a French perfume shop. I was just in France 2 years ago. By the way, you're also getting, I don't know if you saw this, did you see you're getting little Herkimer diamonds? Yeah, you get a little bag. You get one for each of your bottles, and there's a little extra in there too. Isn't that cool? And then for Egypt, we did, this was handmade in Egypt. This is a little blown glass bottle for your Egyptian blend, which is an oil-based blend. And then your Indonesian blend. It's cool, it has like a little red velvet bottom. Screws off like that. And it has little crystals on the side for Indonesia. Because I thought it looked like a temple. So we're going to make a temple blend for Indonesia. Aren't they cool? I'm glad you're excited about it. And the little crystals too. We had so much fun. Claire and her team designed the box, and the box has all of the flowers we're going to be studying on it. So we thought you'd be super excited. And the other thing we did was put all the tools in one box for all 3 months so that you didn't have extra shipping. A lot of people wrote in and thanked us for that, because usually when there's a 3-month class, there's like 3 sets of tools and it's 3 sets of shipping and it's 3 blah, blah, blah. You get 1 box for the whole 3 months, so there's 1 shipping, which is pretty cool too. So enjoy. The French bottle is my favorite because it's heavy. It's like cut crystal, lead crystal, like it's a really heavy bottle, so it feels really substantial, but in terms of the design, I'm with you. I think the Indonesian bottle is magnificent. Yeah. Yeah, so interesting. So, because Ginny said it might be a fun thing to do with the family, so to get another set of tools. I think I'm going to put the tools in the drop-down as a standalone product. Are the scents floral, spicy, or a mix? It's a mix. Because you've got orris root, which is very soft and seductive, and you've got champaka, which is a really profound floral, and neroli, which is a bright white floral. But then you have clove and nutmeg, right, which are a little bit spicier and more potent. And then you've got blue lotus, which is in a whole other category, and mastic, which was used by the Egyptian priests and priestesses before ceremony. I'll teach you all of this when we get together. So they're all very different. But we blended them all, we pre-blended them as we were choosing them to make sure they all smell good together. So it comes with the alcohol for the spray. It comes with special perfumer's alcohol. So it's not like vodka, do you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't want to drink that. So it actually comes with perfumer's alcohol. And it's enough to fill your bottle. Isn't that cool? And then your oils are all oils that I have blended with an alcohol base. So the blend will be beautiful. I can't wait for you to smell everything. Now, if you have your tools, that's all you need. Team SG is going to take notes for you, as we always do with all the classes. And so the class is going to be half blending, half world tour. My goal is to actually bring each one of these countries to life for you. So I'm going to teach you about the geography of the location, the history of perfume in the location. So that's why part of it in Egypt is going to be about how the high priests and priestesses worked with oils. And then we're going to talk about the funerary practices, the embalming practices, and how they prepared for the afterlife, because Blue Lotus was so much a part of that. So yeah, so the first half of the class will be bringing that country to life for you, and the second half of the class will be blending. And the dates, yeah, I think they released the dates. The first class is July 29, and they're all live and recorded, just like Soul Shift, so you can watch it later. No, we will, Ida, we're good. One of the reasons we custom designed the box, do you see how it's packed? So all of these bottles come in individual bags, and then they are hidden. They're going to be tucked inside of this. And we've already test shipped them, and they arrive beautifully. So that's why we custom designed the box, because there's so much glass and fragile stuff. We wanted to make sure that everything would be perfectly safe for you, because we can't really replace them, you know what I mean? So you're good. I'm glad you're excited too. So anyway, go get your tools in your class if you're interested. If not, don't worry. It's optional. You don't have to do it. It's not really part of Soul Shift. I'm just giving you a good discount as a thank you for being part of our community. Yeah, I'm thinking about aromatherapy certification for next year, as I was saying. So we'll see how everybody responds to this. If people are excited about it and they would like to see it as part of Soul Shift and to get certified as a master perfumer, I would love to be able to do that. So we'll see how the next couple of weeks go. And if people are really excited, I would love to be able to consider that for next year. God, Martha says her packages are thrown over her gate. Hey, Amanda, you know what you should do? She's asking about a releasing sigil. Google it. You will find a ton. Now, what I will tell you is be careful, because you don't necessarily know what magical tradition that person came from in creating that sigil or what their intention was. So I would say Google it to get some inspiration and then create your own. That's probably the best and safest way to do that. God, Martha. Bless you, girl. It's amazing anything gets to you in one piece, probably, right? Well, you're welcome, you guys. Mwah. Enjoy. Alexis and I will see you soon. Thank you, Alexis, for staying late, as you do. I really appreciate you. And hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. And if not, then I will see you. We don't have anything Friday, I don't think. We have Rare Stone Roundup and Crystal Masters this Friday. I'm doing that on Fridays to kind of show them some of the unique things from the week. And then next week is another busy, busy, busy week. And it ends up with a new moon on my dad's birthday on the 9th. So get some rest this week, because we've got a lot of magical work to do together next week too. All right. Mwah. Have a great night, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad you enjoyed June. Get ready for July soul shift. We start next week. I can't wait.